back.
Good to
And
have you back.
hey, happy birthday in arrears. Happy New Year in arrears ish. Although we're still in the month.
Of the
Hey,
Happy
wait,
New Year.
technically, can you say Happy New Year till March?
I think you can say till the end of February.
No,
I'll go to March.
you can say it on the 90th day of January.
Anyway, good to
Until
have
then.
everyone back. Wishing everyone a great 2020 ahead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, January is 30 days, right?
31.
31, I'm sorry. Oh boy, I need sleep.
It feels like 40 something.
It feels like, yeah, it feels like it. But just for the kids listening out there, January is 31, please. Don't listen to the adults when they say things like that. Locker Room 91 is about sports. And please send your messages on WhatsApp 0809 That's 0809 4440981.
Also on Twitter, it's at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981. On YouTube, we're streaming live. Please show us some love there. We love our YouTube family, so please go on there on Smooth981FM, and you see a wave from Tega and Brutalist.
Right. Now, Super Falcons captain Asisa Toshola has been crowned as the 2019 African Women's Player of the Year. The Nigerian forward was announced as the best African female footballer of the year on Tuesday, yesterday, at the 2019 CAF award ceremony in Egypt. Oshola, who plays for Spanish side Barcelona, beats Ajara of Cameroon and South Africa's Stembi, who was crowned in Senegal last year to claim the title. It is the fourth time the 25-year-old is being crowned the best African female footballer. Something good. I
Yeah.
like it.
I don't with the I would say this with the people she was up against. It just seemed clear who was going to win it.
Really?
Ongene had a pretty interesting World Cup with the Cameroonian national team, but not much could be said about her club football. So you're looking at the players and saying there was one part they were spectacular, there was one part they weren't. On the other hand, with Assisat, everything seemed to be working out for her, together for her good, regardless of where she was. The team scattered, Assisat was fine. The team was together, Assisat was great. So congratulations to her. She did clearly deserve that one. Also on the men's side, there were not too many contentions to be spoken about. Sadiwani won that one. Clear. It was evident from the beginning, from the minute he was endorsed by several people in Europe. It was clear that he was always going to win. I mean, if people are saying that you shouldn't have finished fourth in the Ballon d'Or awards, you should have finished maybe better. There is no other African higher. So it was clearly for Sadio Mane. Had a fantastic year. Puts his foot right everywhere still, and that form is still carrying through. So congratulations to him. The shock, however, came in the other categories like team of the year, and young player of the year, where you had Chukwueze and Osimhen, and what was the eventual winner from Morocco again, who crashed out in the first round of the AFCON, and didn't win anything with Dortmund, but he was crowned young player of the year. So the question was, from where, how, who did this crowning, who saw him? But he won it. Then team of the year was the Cameroonian national women's team. You have to remember, this is the team of the year that went to the World Cup and cried and fought and almost walked off on the referee. I mean, so if you're saying that of all the African teams, the Cameroonian women's national team was your team of the year, well, I don't know what you're saying about African football CAF.
But how was Nigeria's female team though?
Well, I would say it was better than the Cameroonian female team.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I just think it was the wrong team to choose. I'm not saying you must have chosen Nigeria or you should have chosen Nigeria, but choosing Cameroon clearly did not set the standard, not even set the bar at all. It left the bar on the floor. So, I mean, there is no coming back from that. It was a horror for them to have chosen. If you wanted to support the Cameroonian women's team, there are many ways to do it. Donate money to them, help them structure their league, do something else. Don't give them that award. They cannot be team of the year. There's no planet. It's like saying, oh, the most disciplinary player of the year is Sergio Ramos. It's not possible. It's not.
So let me just ask, as a layman in sports, that what was the criteria? What were the metrics used to determine the winner?
I don't know, because normally you look at results, you look at discipline, you'd look at unity, you look at, there's some teams that they'll bring and say, oh, this was the happiest team at the tournament, or this team behaved themselves. But Cameroon wasn't any of anything.
Yeah, I think that discipline and behaving themselves were not a major factor in that decision.
Oh,
I strongly
okay.
suspect.
But even results, they still finish. Yeah, even results, they were still third in Africa.
But in terms of performances, or in terms of the performances of the teams that went to the Female World Cup, you could argue that they probably put up a better performance in terms of they had a more gutsy display.
That's what
in
Gattuso
terms of-
usually says.
Yes,
I have a gutsy display. They're still
Mhm.
losing. But what it is I don't know. I don't know the criteria. I don't. Again, that's the problem. Cameroon was just not the team that you say this is the African team of the year. So if you're trying to make a case for African football, is it the Cameroon women's national team that you want to use? It's not. It's not the team. And then the team of the year again for me was the 11, the CAF 11. Oh no. No, that's not no.
So Kenny Hitoge says, "Happy New Year, guys! Congrats to Sadio Mane, though it came a little too late." And then Chimobi Victor says, "Congrats again to Sadio Mane and Asisa Oshoala for their respective victory." While for the team of the year, like you mentioned, where is Odion Igodalo or Igalo and Wilfred Ndidi for me? That list is incomplete without this duo.
I may not battle about Odion Igalo, but I will battle about Wilfred Ndidi. There's no way that he shouldn't make any list.
Who were the people that made the list?
It was, for me, the person that made the list that shouldn't have been there was the guy, Ghana guy from that plays for, sorry, that sits on the bench for PSG. Yeah, that's it.
That sits on the bench for PSG.
He doesn't play.
Oh my days.
I mean, the thing with these awards is that a lot of the players who tend to be the top contenders are people who are frontline strikers or people who score a lot of goals. They make the news. They make the news are more prominent because of the goals they score. People tend not to pay a lot of attention to people who are in the defensive midfield area or even defenders. I think Virgil van Dijk is probably one of the exceptions to the rule. Cannavaro, who is about the only defender that I know that has ever risen to that prominent height of winning that sort of prominence. So if you're not a striker who's scoring a lot of goals, people tend not to pay a lot of attention to you. So the only way you get noticed is if they then create a specific award for that category of
but
players.
top 11 in Africa. There's no way Wilfred Ndidi shouldn't be in your midfield. If you're counting the 11 players in Africa,
you won't be there.
let's
move. I told you, I always claim my seat. I've taken my seat by the lay people, by the lay chair. All right, so Kaya says, "Happy New Year, guys! Congrats to the winners, but the merit for awarding some of these winners, youth team and African 11 etc., is highly questionable. Small time they will say African football is not united like the club. Africa to your tent. All right, let's move on to Australia, where we talk about the Australian fires and what they're saying will not impact on the tennis open. So we have reports that Australian Open organizers don't expect any delays to the start of the tournament on 14th January, despite the ongoing bushfires in the country. Air quality in Melbourne has reached very unhealthy levels, but tournament organizers have introduced additional measures to ensure it can run. The tournament director, Craig Teeley, says the forecast is good.
Yes, I'll put it this way. So, because of the conditions in, like I said, it's not just about where the fire is burning, it's the atmosphere and what the flames are doing to the atmosphere. First of all, you also have to remember how already it was hot and the rest, and it was a bit, what's the word now, let me just say it was hot and a bit stuffy. I don't know what's the word.
Is it humid, hazy?
Humid, hazy, all of the above.
In Australia, and then you now add the fires. So people are asking, Australian Open is just around the corner. Where are we? Are we still going to play? Are we still going to play? Are we still going to move? But I think with the tennis already taking place, in Australia right now. They are already monitoring situations and weather conditions and everything else. And so they will take it as it comes. So I don't think they're going to move the Australian Open. I think they're just going to be very watchful of the forecast a little more than they would have been. I saw some people making so a brand got into trouble for making a particular kind of suit to adjust players to the weather conditions in Australia, but I don't think people should have been outraged because there is a fire burning in Australia and they have to prepare athletes for that. Even F1 that is all the way in March is monitoring the conditions.
Yeah.
So what of Australian Open that is in January? But I don't think it will move. I think just monitoring, and then they will add a few things, maybe more breaks or something for the players. And let's see how they'll take it from there. But I'm not sure that they're going to just switch up everything because of that. But again, they usually with major tournaments like this, the organizers usually take a lot of things into consideration. So if they do have costs to move, which I hope not, I hope the fires will be put out very soon because it's caused so much damage, killed a few people already, and already damaging the atmosphere apart from the immediate effect of burning things around. So I'm hoping that fire will be doused soon, but the organizers are taking care of it.
All right. Now, Real Madrid coach Zinedine Zidane said his team is solely focused on lifting the Spanish Super Cup trophy ahead of this week's revamped four-team competition taking place in Saudi Arabia. In his words, here's how he described it at a news conference yesterday on the eve of his team's semi-final against Copa del Rey holders Valencia in Jeddah. "We're not coming here for a walk," is what he said. "It's the first edition in Saudi Arabia and the competition is a great hope. It's an important competition and we want to give our all to play a good match today."
Yeah, the tournament has been revamped a little bit, so there's the semi-finals and then there's the final on Sunday. Barcelona, I think, and will play their own game on Thursday, and then the final will be on Sunday. But there's a bit of a controversy about where they are playing the tournament. Why are they taking it to Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia has been trying to use sports to push for tourism and pushing their festivities. But people are complaining about the human rights and the women's rights and all of that. But they've started allowing women into the football stadiums in Saudi Arabia, and the La Liga has particularly said we are going to sell plenty with tickets to women, so they are coming. But on that note, I think their laws are getting a little more flexible in some aspects, but people are still complaining about the human rights. And La Liga is saying we are just here to play football, but sometimes it's hard to say you're just here to play football when it seems like you're supporting some other culture. But I hope at the end of the day to come down to what happens on the pitch and not what is happening in the society.
That's a good hope. We're going to be back after this. Stay with us.
It's true now. Every small thing. Saudi Arabia is offering too much money
Yeah,
for them to turn down.
I don't think and they know they have plenty.
Think
money,
about
so
even Anthony Joshua went to box in Saudi Arabia. Do you know the boxing crowd? How liberal the boxing crowd is? And they went to Saudi Arabia. They're like, there's money. Let's go.
I'm surprised that there's now like an interest in Saudi Arabia for these people to.
Well, Saudi Arabia is currently on a campaign to just change their image, and then I think they're trying to be.
Dubai.
They're trying to be like Dubai, make it more about a tourist destination other than crude oil and stuff like that. So they're using their crude oil.
Is it what I've not seen in Nigeria, or what?
Their crude money is what they're now trying to like make sure that look, but even with their oil.
So are we continuing for? There's one story we didn't take, the Malaga one, or should we skip it?
This segment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official sponsor of the English Premier League. Banter better with Coca-Cola.
That's the hashtag Banter Better with Coca-Cola. Let's keep our statements, our comments, our conversations free of any vulgar statements. Let's be very civil in our conversation, but as much as possible, add some humor in your comments as we analyze these stories. Remember the hashtag for every conversation. You send messages to WhatsApp 0809 4440981. You send it to Twitter.
At Smooth981FM, use the hashtag Banter Better Coca-Cola, and of course, Locker Room 981.
All right, we have messages.
Yes, from earlier stories, Janeju is challenging Tega on her comments on Cameroon's women's team, as he says they're clearly the best women team in 2019. Round of 16 World Cup, same as Nigeria, still at the Olympics, as Nigeria got to final of Kosafa as guest name another. And then a number of people are not happy about Ndidi Wilfred not making the 11. But let's move on to our first story here. Next story here. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. First half spell, worst Manchester United have played. Solskjaer said this: from the goal until halftime, that is the worst that we have played. From the first goal to halftime, we just could not cope with that setback. We're running in between. The pressure didn't work, and we let them play. Our heads dropped. We just made decisions that we should not do.
There are many people who will probably not agree that that was their worst. There have been several of the worst of the worst of the worst performances that Manchester United as a team have put up under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer since he became confirmed as the permanent coach of the Manchester United team. But that said, look, we can talk all we want about how poor Manchester United were in the first half, but you must give credit to the superior performance that Manchester City put up. It was, let's just, for want of a better word, it was Manchester City just beating up a small boy. If you literally, that's, I mean, it was a mismatch in that first half.
Hashtag Banter Better Coca-Cola.
Honestly, and I think that the only reason why that scoreline looks respectable in the sense that Manchester United contrived to get a goal in the second half is because Manchester City was not at their ruthless best in that first half. It could easily have been 4-5 in the first half alone. They were that much better winning the ball. They were hungrier and things like that. There was a small improvement from Manchester United in the second half, but not enough for him to be sounding like this whole thing. There's a problem with there's a disconnect somewhere within the coaching setup and within the playing staff at Manchester United. They've managed to get results against teams in the league that are better than they, higher placed than they are, but there's been a lack of consistency, a lack of fluidity, a lack of belief. And it's the responsibility of the manager to transfer that belief into his team. Yeah. And so far, he's not done that. And questions must be asked about what is really going on within the hierarchy and how they view Manchester United long-term under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Do you think we'll be having Ole out, or is it? I mean,
Ole has been out since on
Ole out has been out.
He's still in the
He's still
job.
outing. He's still trending.
All right. So I have comment. Big T says hashtag Banter Better Coca-Cola. Sadio Mane just won the best player in Africa, proving that even a bad haircut cannot stop your destiny.
His haircut wasn't so bad.
Hashtag Banter Better with Coca-Cola. She says, Tega, I personally will sack CAF for scam on CAF 11 because this wicked thing that they did on Ndidi is indeed real. It's a real deal. Ayo, Manchester United's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer means he's Ole and a gunner. So, chair fits him job.
All right. Okay, then hashtag Banter Better Coca-Cola. Hope OGS was frowning. That's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was frowning when he made that statement because Van Persie is watching.
Victor from Alaba International says this Manchester United coach should be OLX because he has no tactics and lacks tactical know-how. His team was losing. He just sat glued to his seat like our former sports minister with Redberry. Manchester City played without a striker and he couldn't capitalize on that. Hashtag Banter Better with Coca-Cola.
All right, Pius from Alaba says hashtag Banter Better with Coca-Cola. Sorry, I want to ask in Pidgin. Saka will no fit hold Sterling. That one will be Saka.
Nice. Now, the Spanish professional football coach and former player, who's currently the head coach at the Premier League club Arsenal, is saying that playing against Leeds is like going to the dentist. He said it in these words, quote, "They're a nightmare for every team to play. I said before the game, to play against them is like going to the dentist. It's tough. They make it really hard. They're a great team. Do they stand a chance?
I would say this. I would say this for them. I don't think he's just described Marco Bielsa. That's literally what he's done. It's not necessarily the Leeds team. Yeah. I'm not taking anything from the players. It's the coach. It's that man. That man is very stubborn, very hard to beat, very wicked. He'll not give you anything, and he'll take everything if he can. Unfortunately for Leeds United, when they started the game, the way they started the game, a little bit of accuracy may have gotten them a few goals because Arsenal were in tatters. They kept tearing through the defense. They
Only
kept
the
getting
defense.
they kept getting opportunities. They just didn't take it. And then Arsenal had that one chance, literally. It was one chance. The other one that hit the bar is not a chance.
Granted, but in the second half, they were a much better team.
Yeah, I'm still talking about the start of the game. Okay.
But the one chance came in the second half.
But then Arsenal had that one chance and scored their goal. So if Leeds United maybe had taken advantage of their better first half, it may have been a different story for Arsenal in the end. But what can I say now? They don't count all the trials; they count the victories.
Yep.
And Mikel Aterta now has 2 victories under his belt.
Hey.
He might be
Two
bouncing.
two clean sheets.
And 2 clean sheets. He might be bouncing like a big boy now. When he comes into the locker room, his shoulder parts, man.
So who's
nice.
Arsenal now?
Quick one about Leeds United. For those who have not been following the championship,
Oh yeah, they are the top.
They are at the top, and this is what they do every time they play other teams in the championship. Teams in the championship have gone through this punishment. The Arsenal team did not prepare mentally for the reality of what they had been warned about, and that was what we saw in the first half. That said, if they do make it to the Premier League, and it looks like they should make it, this issue of finishing is something that they have to address to be able to sustain a Premier League return.
All right. What's their name again?
Leeds United.
Leeds.
They were big boys back in the
My
day.
uncle used to, he's been supporting them from,
Those who remember
watching
Leeds United,
football.
Mark Vidukas of this
Yeah,
world,
the way
I
they
think.
used to be
That's
top,
why it's
yeah.
very important to name your children according to the kind of future you want them to have.
Like Leeds.
Yeah.
Alright. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola on Twitter. Akiade Soji says, Happy New Year, guys. It's hard to banter when your team just got flogged at assembly in front of the whole school. As a Man U fan, I can't wait for Pochettino to take over in May after Ole has been knocked out of all cup competitions.
Wow.
Are you hiring?
Taya says from Yaba, he says Pep had no chill. Like he took out a cold Coke from the deep freezer while Ole thought it was a tea party. Arsenal so good. Emery has to get sacked again.
Hey. All right. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Emeka from Amuo says, Ole at the wheel. Manchester United fans should realize that his driver's license don't expire. I'm sure his tactics before the match was either they win or we try to win a penalty or counter attack. If neither works, then we say the Lord's Prayer. Lastly, De Bruyne, I have one question for you. What was Phil Jones' offense to deserve such punishment for that third goal? That was a crime against humanity.
Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. James from Marine Beach says, forget Manchester United. They've been shouting Ole gonna go since last season. Who would they bring?
Okay. And then Big T says, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Your analyst just asked the $1 million question. Who is the defense at Arsenal? I don't think even Aterta knows. All right, let's go on to James Madison. Manchester United target staying at Leicester. So James is a very talented player and he'll be here in January and beyond. He's a player we're keen to remain here and help us on this journey over the next few years. James and his representatives are speaking with the club and these things take time.
All right. January transfer window is here again, and of course there'll be rumors and all sorts and stuff like that. James Madison has been a long-term Manchester United target. The misfortune for Manchester United currently is the fact that they are not doing well, so they're currently the most unattractive proposition of any team that you would aspire to transfer to in the Premier League at the moment. I mean, even Aston Villa probably looks better than they do at the moment in terms of propositions. But why would you leave a team that is playing so well, second in the league at the moment, the prospect of Champions League football that a certain team in the red half of Manchester may not even get?
Money.
You know,
Money
Look,
answer all things.
the money. Look, money. I agree, but money misroad and money misroad management cannot attract you.
Leave
It
this
cannot.
matter. They know that
Cannot.
their career may not be long. Look, James Maddison came off from the Championship. Now he's seeing Premiership. Then they are going to bring I wanted to say one name of that bag. They are going to bring that big bag, that one that has red and white line of money, and put on the table. You say you should not take it because of Champions
I
League
would
football.
argue that there are other teams in the top half of the Premier League that would offer a more
But they are not
attractive
toasting
proposition
him now.
that we
He's
know of yet.
They're not toasting him. The
Eh.
one that is toasting him now, he may follow that one.
Sometimes
because,
you may not want to follow the ugly bread
because you
with
don't
hope that another one may come.
because
A
you
bread
don't
in
know. You don't know.
There are some bets that you
his
don't want to
form-
hold.
No, you don't know that your form will last for more than one season.
Yeah, true.
That one you cannot say. Ask Drinkwater. But on another note,
He wasn't doing it. That's his problem.
on another note, he may want to move for the money. At the end of the day, it comes down to that money.
It's
How
all about the
much is it?
Money.
But the first thing they have to do, the first job James Maddison has to do is not decide where he's moving to. It's beat Aston Villa to be at home. That's the first thing.
Right.
So that match is same time. It's the second leg. It's same time today.
Okay.
So the winner of this Leicester Aston Villa is who's going to face the winner of the Manchester Derby in the Carabao
wow.
Cup final. So
Yeah.
that's important for him. But
Don't we
if
have
I'm
a
his
rough
friend-
idea of who the winner of the Manchester Derby might be?
no, there's
No.
still 90
There's
minutes.
still hope.
Anything can
All right,
happen.
guys, I need to talk about Premiership and Championship. Collins Ine says, #banter better with Coca-Cola. Arsenal is back. They beat the number 1 team in the Championship.
One message.
This kind of evil spirit banter, eh?
One message, and she's
This kind
shouting.
of evil spirit banter.
I'm laughing at
Let me talk about the other club that you know, as Ayo. I was going to call you Arsenal, but Paul Pogba says Manchester United midfielder, as we know him to be, undergoes ankle surgery. Now, he initially uploaded a video on Instagram in which he looked somewhat groggy and admitted, "I don't even know if I'm okay or if I'm high or if I'm sober. Just don't ask me if it went well. I don't know." He later deleted that post and replaced it with a shorter video saying, "Everything went well. We have to keep it positive energy."
No worry. The
After
first
he received a text message from the
no.
club.
The first tweet was the painkiller that was talking.
Yes,
The
yes.
second tweet was him.
Yeah.
There's one painkiller. Tega, you can't say it on air.
No, you
But if you have one surgery,
no, it's okay. Let's
Uh-huh.
move on.
No,
Yeah. Paul Pogba.
I understand where you're coming from.
We have one
I've walked that path.
All right, so Shay is saying Sadio Mane is the third man for the award. Ole Sole Chair is the sole chairman for Football Association of Failures Joe. #banter better with Coca-Cola.
And James from Marion Beach says Leicester made it known that they won't be allowing any player leave this January transfer window. But let's see if Olodoman United. Wow, no insulting words. Come on, I'm gonna skip that message. Let's keep it moving.
All right,
#banter better with Coca-Cola.
Izu says #banter better Coca-Cola. Pep endorsing Ole before the game only to thrash him. It's just like your mom telling you after you've done something wrong that she wouldn't beat you only to descend on you in full force. It was an annihilation in that first half. This Ole needs to be beaten out of Manchester United.
Say no to violence. And Big E from Kitsu says, the way I see our coach Mikel, he behaves like a Liverpool coach. Ayo, deep down inside Tega's heart, she likes Arsenal.
Oh, she loves Arsenal. She
#banter better with
loves-
Coca-Cola. And thank you so much, Brutalistics. Thank you so much to you who have sent in messages on YouTube, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, wherever. Thank you so much. Catch Brutalistics on Twitter @Brutalistics. You can just say hello, Uncle Bro. And Tega is at Tega Supreme. You can catch the activities of ladies in sports at LIS International. Next up is Lagos Talks 91 for the final hour of Smooth Breakfast with Valentine Ohu.
And Ayo Mairo Ese.
Stay with us.